At a Rose Garden event on 2nd April, which Trump, the tariff king, has called as Liberation Day, he put tariffs, or you can say reciprocal tariffs, onto nations which he says are perpetual offenders. Perpetual offenders in his language are those nations which have a trade surplus with US, or US has a trade deficit with them. And he has said that these tariffs will be effective by April 9th, which is the D-Day. His justification is that these countries who are benefiting out of the US have raped, looted and plundered the US economy. So that is why to teach them a lesson. And the US production agency and the manufacturing houses get a boost, has put this tariffs. So as we move ahead onto what are going to be the effect of these tariffs on our country and on the global economy, I will request you to volunteer for our NGO with a tagline of right to education, and also please motivate our artisans on our e-commerce site Sonajuri Arts, which showcases the art of Bengal, and this will give these artisans a quality life. So moving forward with our video, now that Trump, the maverick, has put tariffs, how is it going to affect the global economy? The economical growth of many countries will slow down. There will be a trade war which has already started off because China has imposed tariffs up to 34% on US products. And remember, US and China are the two largest economies and which are growing. So there is a trade war and polls will be drawn out. The economies will go down, the GDP of the nations will go down. Like India, it is said that there will be a drop in the GDP by about 1%. Peaking will be at 6.5% only. So a universal basic tariff of 10% on US import from all countries was already there. A reciprocal tariff on 60 worst offenders, India being one of them, with whom the US has a large trade deficit. That is, US imports are more than what they export. These duties will be in addition to the ones existing. So if an Indian product attracted 10% tariff in the past, the new duty rate would be 27%, because that is the tariff imposed on India, and it will become 37%, a major hike. India also has tariffs imposed on US goods, especially the agricultural goods, on which there is a tariff of 100%. And the goods which are exempted from this present tariff are semiconductor, pharmaceuticals and copper, on which no reciprocal tariff has been put. Cars and automobiles already have a tariff of 25%, which was put a few weeks back. So when this tariff comes in, it will be an additional burden. But here I would like to mention that US has just pinched India, but it has boxed many other countries that include China, Canada, UK to some extent, the EU, and even poor countries like Vietnam and Cambodia. So here is a question that can the tariffs be later on removed or cut at will? Yes, the tariffs can be decreased by the government, and also there can be increase in tariffs. So both ways are possible, depending on the situation, depending on the trade deals that happen in future. So why did Trump take this decision? What led to it? Let us just briefly see the events chronologically. On 1st February, new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, China were announced and were put on hold on 3rd February. On 4th March, duties on Chinese and Canadian imports were announced. 12th March, Canada was hit back with tariffs. And on 24th March, US threatened tariffs on countries buying Venezuelan oil. So basically, US, or Trump to be more accurate, wants to control the economy and control the nations with whom he does not want to have ties. Like here, Venezuelan oil. Why should Venezuela not export its oil? But then Trump doesn't like it, saying that they have a trade surplus with US. And it is not that only the global economy and India will be hit. US will also be hit, because if there are no trade deals or import and exports, inflation will come up, unemployment will increase, the economic growth and the stock market will also fall. But then there are some positives that, like Trump has planned, the manufacturing will get a boost, production houses may get a boost, because he wants his MAGA, that is the Make America Great Again theory, to work out so that the Americans get a job. But then we will have to see, with trade deals falling out, how things move forward. So 5 basic points what will cause the global economy go into a dizzy are basically, here exporters are arguing that this gives India some comparative advantage. Higher import duties will push up domestic prices in the US, even with a baseline of 10% duty for some countries, and dampen consumer demand. So that will make people look towards other countries for the items. Estimates suggest that around 2/3 of India's exports will bear the impact of the trade or reciprocal tariffs. Even countries such as Vietnam and China, which are more dependent on exports, especially on the US, are staring at a bigger hit in their economies than with India, because India is going into the Make in India mode, and we have our indigenized products. Or also, China has got a good market in India. The demand dip of many things like agricultural products, automobile and cars will get hit. The demands will dip down, exports will go down. Then US will also have a lack of these items to go into their country because of the tariffs and the reciprocal tariffs put on these products. Bangladesh will have a big disadvantage, because as they're in a political shimazal, their cloth industry, which is flourishing, will get hit, because US, which is one of the biggest market, will have tariffs on them, and their costings will go up. And though their production will not get harmed, but the exports will get harmed, and items will not be sold, and the market will reduce. In turn, the economic growth of the nation will also go down. Then there are trade deals which are happening all across the world, and trade deals with US, like we have deals on electronics and technology happening. So these will either have to be done up on a fast track so that it can be closed up, or they get stalled after the tariffs are put, and then everything is a big zilch. And in the longer run, we need to think, and also Trump needs to think, that reforms have to be made and tariffs have to be decreased also by his side and also by these nations, so that the economic growth of the world and the countries go up and we do not stall and go into a recession, because there are chances of many countries going into recession and also US going into not exactly a recession but a regression with these tariffs. So let us keep watching what this tariff or trade war gives out to us in the future for the global economies. So keep watching my channel so that I can give you updates on the global scenario and on the international relations happening. And also I am available for live skill. Call me on the number given below and I am here to help you out. Jai Hind.